So the question, Ben, as you've been so nice to explain to people as best you can on the Facebook page, the question comes down to, the only question I personally had after speaking with the Department of Revenue, I spoke to Miss Linda Lucas, who was very, very nice, but the question comes down to a lot of the answers that are being given by you, by other people who aren't the certified assessors. There's a lot of mixing back and forth between the words just value and the words fair market value.
Yep.
Sometimes in the same answer they hip hop back and forth.
Yep.
And I just wanted to make clear, because Ms. Lucas told me that basically they're interchangeable.
But you got to remember, that's a revenue perspective.
Mm-hmm.
I'm now dealing in that municipal revenue perspective, but I've also had the real estate background perspective. Excuse me. So I look at it two different ways because I'm trying to make it easier to understand. Because I understand that, I get that in classes, and they're interchangeable. Well, not really, because fair market value is what you're going to go sell your house for. Are you going to sell your house when the market's low and tanked, or are you going to say, oh man, I could double? Are you kidding me? The market's hot, like in 2005, 2006, people were selling, buying, there was a lot going on. Fair market value then, if you were basing that with taxes, you'd be spiking and doing this all the time. I call it, just for easier clarification, just value would include fair market, obviously, but there's one other thing that we as assessors have to look at is equity. So when someone comes in here with an appraisal, we're going to have an issue tonight where, the bank came and revaled my house, we're doing a reval, whatever, for the loan or whatever, and I have this appraisal. Well, number one, that's the bank's appraisal. You happen to have a copy of it, and yeah, you shelled out the money for it, but the appraiser, a fee appraiser, is looking specifically at your one house and only going to find the value that they need to find for the bank to cover the loan.
So that's the fair market value.
That tends to, fair market value is what you can get, with a I'm not gonna have the right terms right now, but the reasonable buyer and a
what the
fair,
bank will allow you to borrow on,
with no undue influence.
Of a number of properties is usually involved.
I'm sorry.
I said an equal comparison of a number of properties that are closest to the property in question. In other words, say Ben's got a house for sale, I've got a house for sale, they're both about the same size houses. He may have more furnishings, more expensive countertops, things like that in his house than I do in mine, so that'll change the value a little bit. And there's a lot of questions. There's not just one or two simple little questions when it comes to making a just value or fair value.
Oh yeah, we've run into quite a few.
Yes, but if I can jump into that, that's exactly right. Because those are the little tweaks I was commenting about. There's little tweaks that we right now don't do interior stuff. Granite countertops versus laminate, things like that. Those absolutely affect your fair market value. But then we have to apply one other thing that fee appraiser that was hired by the bank doesn't look at. They use comps, but they're not trying to make it fair across the board for similar properties.
So, for example, one of the questions that was asked that didn't get answered was, somebody had a home on the waterfront, a home next door to them on the waterfront. They felt that their property had been assessed and that the other persons right next door to them, who had great lots of remodeling work, I guess was the word she used, remodeling work, like huge amounts of remodeling work done to the interior. But at this time, our Board of Selectmen, acting as Board of Assessors, is not interested.
So not acting as, you are the assessors.
But
you're sworn in as such, not acting as. But
so,
that's just a small tweak. But yeah, we're not looking at interiors, we're not looking at the houses even right now on the waterfront. We're looking at land value only.
Okay.
So that's it.
So right now, that's the avenue that you guys are going on as
and I also
a
spoke
board.
to that same person
I know you
a couple
did.
different times. And her comments were that there was no trespassing signs. I haven't had a chance to speak with Selectmen Heath and Selectmen Philbrick's no longer here. They were the two that went out looking last year. And the specific property supposedly, according to her, had no trespassing signs.
Her neighbors.
Yep, the neighbors. Yep. And so it comes down to, honestly, a judgment call at that point in time. You know, I run into some. I ran into one yesterday that, you know, says no trespassing, keep out, gated across the driveway. You know,
Can
at
you-
my risk at that point in time, you know, and, you know, I know that they're not there. I know that it's in Massachusetts. They're in Massachusetts. I know what, you know. So, yeah, I took a little walk down, snapped a couple pictures, and just, I need to be able to assess. If someone come out yelling at us to get off the property, I'm going to get off the property. You know, if they're adamantly have already, especially, I probably, it's arguable whether you respect that sign or not in different situations. I mean, if it's somebody's home, they're living there, yep, I've done that. I'm just going to turn away. In this situation, it ended up being a little camp. It's a little summer camp, and nobody's
So
there.
what do you do if somebody lives there and they have the no trespassing? Do you then have to make arrangements with them to gain access to
You
the
don't
property?
have to, because I look at it this way. Could you go over there and knock on their door?
Probably.
So that's what I do. So
But
I
they
go
like
over-
me. No.
They like me. Everybody likes me, right? No. So anyway, so I'll go over and knock on the door, you know, and if nobody answers, fine, or you know, I go away. But if they tell me to get off, you're going away. But don't run into that. I run into most people.
Right.
I'm actually very surprised. Easy 60 to 70% of the people we run into, I've run into. Do you want to see the inside? You know, I mean,
Right.
I expected the opposite, and no, they're very accommodating. So
It's nice to
I-
know.
Most people
Yeah.
are.
Yeah.
It's nice to know.
But I'm gonna shut down that question and answer time because Mandy's here.
Okay.